whether we're talking about like we have all these areas in our life, and if you're feeling stress, it's really look at what is causing that stress. What is the thing that has you uncertain? Because it's typically fear. Fear is causing stress, and it's usually because of uncertainty, fear of failure, fear of rejection. If we're looking at our physical health, it's when you have a strong mind, when you have discipline, when you do the things when no one's looking, guess what? Your mind becomes stronger. You start having more certainty in your ability to show up and perform and have energy and do the things you need to do because you're getting up and you're taking care of yourself. You're eating healthy. You're getting enough sleep. You're training yourself. And that creates a formidable person.
Welcome to another episode of WealthWise Banking. I'm here today with my co-host, Jason Sipple, and we're going to be discussing a little bit about a topic we've been kind of hitting around for all of 2025 before we move into 2026. And it's really this idea that, most people don't have money problems. They actually have money patterns. And we'll kind of dive deep into that kind of philosophy and that discussion a little bit later in the episode. Before we get into it, Jason, man, how have you been?
Amazing, Jeremy. Amazing. Thank you for the introduction. Welcome back, everyone. Last episode of the year. This has been a topic, a thought, a thing that you and I have been talking about and going back and forth because we often talk about how people don't have control of their monies, how they're assuming all the risk. But when we really dove into it deeper, it became much simpler. So in this episode, I'm really excited to talk about the money patterns and really move away from the money problem necessarily, right? It's just a pattern. Patterns can be shifted by shifting habits. So let's hop into it, brother.
Yeah, me personally, I know that I'm pretty busy, and I'm sure the same thing with a lot of our members, right? Between the busyness, we tend to start outsourcing a lot of our money, right? Whether that's advisors, whether that's tech stacks, adding applications. And
Mm-hmm.
most people today, what does that do? It puts them kind of far away from their money, right? They're not close to it, they're actually far. And what that's quietly doing is costing them their freedom. And in my opinion, it's costing your freedom if you're not close to your money. And it's not because you're lazy, right? You're not irresponsible with your finances. You're just busy. And so you start outsourcing a little bit of that awareness. And that's what this episode is about, where Jason and I are really going to kind of dive deep into the simple but comforting truth that money is created, but wealth is engineered. And engineering requires closeness to your money.
I love that. And engineering requires precision. It requires thinking about the outcome in the future. And when we're so busy, like you said, we everyone just came out of the holidays. We got big plans for the future, right? And where this is really coming from is if we're removed and we're so far away from our money because they're making it so easy. You can go to an app and you can see what's happening with all your finances. And then when I talk to people, Jeremy, this is where this kind of came from. I say, well, how much is the interest on that you're paying someone else? And they're like, I don't know. And that distance that these apps give us and borrowing money from banks and credit cards and lines of credit and other things that we finance, all of a sudden, like all of that fine print really becomes hard to find. And that distance is why we're here to talk about how these seven laws of wealth and the clarity and the calm that you're going to get when you get closer to your money.
Yeah, busy doesn't have to equal carelessness, right? But often busy does create financial blind spots. I think that's kind of what you're talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. Complete financial blind spots. And again, you don't have money problems. You have money patterns, and money is created through your income. The wealth is engineered through the systems we're talking about. And when we're far away from our money, like you said, we start feeling unsafe maybe, and we start
Mhm.
feeling worried and stressed and
Anxiety.
anxiety and it's normal. And that's one thing that I want everyone to kind of feel. If that's normal, if that's how you're feeling, then you're definitely in the right place because the next part is we want to show you why when you start engineering this, you're gonna this ownership over outsourcing, which is episode 49, is really gonna help you move forward as we launch into the new year.
Yeah, absolutely. So I know when I speak to other folks, other members of the community, there is a little bit of anxiety, a little bit of uncertainty about money, right? And what you do find is they do outsource it, whether it's through an application or a financial advisor. And I'm not saying like you have to become an expert, but what I'm saying is you should have an understanding of your money. That's what it is at the end of the day. And that closeness that you have, that's what creates confidence. So when you start looking at using and stacking advisors and marketing and technology, people just get busy being busy at the end of the day. But I've said this time and again, no one cares more about your money than you. It's not me, not Jason. If it matters, it's measured. And those should be tools. You're leveraging other people's talents, their expertise, but you yourself can't outsource your own wealth.
That's it. You can't outsource any, like, no one's going to care more about your health, your relationships, your money than you.
Mhm. Yes.
And this relationship with money, I know, Jeremy, we haven't talked about this, but I just want to kind of bring up this idea to you. I was thinking about prior to going into this episode, but the way that we learn about money, the way that money kind of works in our current society in the world globally, is that we're used to like kind of being almost subjugated to money. Does it make sense? Like we're used to working for money, trading our time for money, doing things to add value to earn money, to create money. And we're all looking for money. So I think at times we forget that we don't work for money. Money's supposed to be working for us.
Yeah, let's get to the definition of money. What is it? Money is nothing more than a means of exchange for goods and services. That's it.
That's it. That's it. It's a simple, simple means of exchange. Money for an amazing book that someone on this podcast just wrote, and then book for money, money for book, right? It is
Mhm.
just a way to exchange value because, as we joked before, carrying around goats and sheep and barley and things, not so easy anymore. Not so easy
Yeah.
anymore.
So when you start talking to a couple members, and they're telling you about their life and how busy it is, where do you start seeing them drift the most in your discussions?
Oh, that's I had that discussion today, and it's a lot of times, even if we're fairly close to our money and you hear words like budgeting, I think budgeting sucks personally.
Hmm.
I rather say tracking. But like I had a conversation today, and I think this is what you're talking about, where I talked to a couple and they're both young and healthy and good thinkers, combined maybe making, a little over 100 each, right? And they had two main residences, their primary, and then they had another primary that they were able to get. And then they had a car loan, they had no credit card debt, but a car loan where they were paying interest, and they had solar panels. And then as we're talking, I was like, well, how much are you saving? And it was like 400 a month. And it was like, well, where is that going? Oh, it's going into a qualified plan. And it's like, but they just saw the pattern, Jeremy. They're like, I see how much interest is going to the banks in all of these debts that we have. Like we have what we want, but now we're cash flow poor and we're asset rich, and
Hmm.
we're kind of stuck. And that's the dynamic. Most people are running into, a 30 mile an hour gust. And they think if they train more, they get stronger doing squats, they get their calves stronger, they're going to be able to run faster into that 30 mile an hour wind. They don't really think about turning around and letting the wind push them and becoming a sail and going faster by just thinking about the environment that they're in. And so switching that environment, my point being, switching that environment can seem really overwhelming once you see this pattern. So how do we help people, Jeremy, not to feel overwhelmed when they realize the game that they were playing for all this time?
Well, I mean, what matters is measured. The fact that they probably started seeing it because they were tracking. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, they were tracking new. They
Mhm.
really got to get that second primary. They really had to get closer to their money and understand what was
Mhm.
happening to it. And part of what I offered them was like, that's cool. You're paying you got two selves, right? You got your current self and your future self. You're paying all this money to your future self, but right now, that money is being locked up for another. They're both in their early 40, late 30s, early 40s. Like you're locking this money up for another 15, 20 years until you can really utilize it and don't have any kind of penalties. But right now, you're paying more interest than you're earning on this money over that period of time to someone else, and you're
Yeah.
struggling.
So how they could the real question is how could they take back control of their capital?
Yes.
Yeah.
And it starts with, and this all ties into what we're talking about because money is a part of your health. So you have to look, am I healthy right now? Right? Like your financial strength is going to is going to follow that financial awareness that we're talking about, being closer to your money.
Hmm. Yeah, I would encourage the listeners here to start asking themselves, how close are you to your own money, right? Or how far away? Like, do you have a closeness with your capital? Or do you actually feel as though I don't know where my money's at? I don't know why I'm paycheck to paycheck. I don't know. I don't know. If you don't know, maybe that's the first sign to pick up the phone and call us, and we'll help you gain that clarity.
Yeah, and it might not be, and you have to be courageous. Like the folks we're talking to, Jeremy, the folks, our listeners, you guys are courageous, you guys and gals. I always say guys, but I mean all of you, right? But the you have to be courageous to start really looking closer because again, we have all these apps, we have all of these things, we have all these systems that are built to move us away and just say, oh yeah, it's all tracked on Rocket Money. And I'm not saying Rocket Money is a bad thing. That's a good thing to know, right? Because maybe you'll find some subscriptions you don't need and you can cancel that you're not using. But again, it's that closeness following that sixth law of wealth, which we're going to go through those in a moment. So don't go anywhere. But it's really knowing every dollar coming in and every dollar coming out, and then really assigning jobs to your money.
Yeah. I kind of liked how you also hint earlier about money being a part of your health. Can you elaborate a little bit on that? What did you mean by that?
Ooh, yeah. So whether we're talking about like we have all these areas in our life, and if you're feeling stress, it's really look at what is causing that stress. What is the thing that has you uncertain? Because it's typically fear. Fear is causing stress, and it's usually because of uncertainty, fear of failure, fear of rejection. And so if we look at our physical self, right? That's what you're asking. Like, how does this
Yeah.
parallel? If we're looking at our physical health, it's when you have a strong mind, when you have discipline, when you do the things when no one's looking, guess what? Your mind becomes stronger. You start having more certainty in your ability to show up and perform and have energy and do the things you need to do because you're getting up and you're taking care of yourself. You're eating healthy, you're getting enough sleep, you're training yourself, and that creates a formidable person. But that happens again, like I just said, when no one's looking, right? Because no one's going to care more about your body, your longevity, your health, because health is wealth. If you don't have health, you might have a healthy person might have a million problems, but if you don't have your health, you have one problem.
Hmm.
And it's the same. And I think this is what you're asking me to talk about. But if it's the same when we look at our awareness with our money, like our money really does equate to health as well.
Yeah. If someone knows more about your money than you, are you outsourcing a little bit of your security?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's going to be if you're outsourcing like if they know more about your money and you're not close enough to know what your money's doing, I would probably be uncomfortable. Why does that person know more about your money than you do? Now you might be listening and say, "Well, my CPA knows more. My this person knows more." No, they all work for you because of the money you make to help you either keep more of your money or what Jeremy and I do, help you think differently about your money and build that financial, right, stability, that bedrock for everything wealth related.
Yeah, they work for you. Keep that in mind. You are the CFO of your own life, right? You're CEO and CFO. Those people, those advisors, at the end of the day, they're there to help advise, not to outsource to. So if your finances actually had a health report, let me ask you, would you read it or would you avoid it?
Oh man, I was hoping you were going to get to that. Talk about that, Jeremy, for a second. Like if you got your health report. So listeners, this is for you. Write this one down as long as you're not driving. But if your finances had a health report, would you read it or would you be like trying to get in there and change the grade before you let someone else see it? Like would you not only would you read it, would you let your spouse or your business partner read it? Like Jeremy, talk like I feel like you'd be confident, so I'm just gonna put you on the imaginary spot. Like, how would you feel about if you had a financial health report right now?
So I do run a financial health report. Run it every
Shocking,
single month. Yeah.
shocking, shocking.
I'm not as diligent as you and Patty are because you guys do it on a weekly basis. I do mine on a monthly basis, but I do track what comes in and what goes out. And I want to know why, because I have a life to plan. Like I want to be intentional about my life. If for no other reason, I want to be intentional about what it is that I'm building. And if it matters, then it should be measured. And I use the tools like these applications and Excel and everything else to help do the tracking, but I don't do the outsourcing. The outsourcing, the end of the day, the buck stops with me, right? I'm responsible for my financial health, not anyone else. We live in America, the land of the free. And regardless of what your feelings are, I've been to over 40 something countries and no one has the opportunity that we have here. You can literally
Mm.
change your entire financial destiny by coming to America. And so if people are crawling over borders and doing what it is that they can to get into our country and have these sort of opportunities, you got to start thinking like, what other opportunities am I missing by not taking financial responsibility? It's not up to Uncle Sam to support you. At the end of the day, it's up to yourself.
Yeah. And a lot of people get confused with that. That was really powerful, brother. Like a lot of people get confused. They think, oh, well, if I'm in America and I'm paying taxes and I'm a citizen, well, people should take care of me. No, no. Your responsibility is to take care of yourself. And it starts with really being closer to the things that you care about. And so if you want a different outcome, like if things to this point, if you feel uncomfortable with money, if you don't want people to see your financial report card, if you're a little nervous about that. And 2 years ago, by the way, like Jeremy, thank you for the compliment, but Patty and I weren't this close to our money. And what I've discovered in being closer to my money is a lot of money escaped. And I'm talking not just a little, like hundreds of thousands of dollars escaped our system because I wasn't close enough, didn't verify certain things, didn't know certain things, didn't do certain things because I just didn't know. Because why? Because I wasn't close enough.
I would say, you know what? You just kind of, I think you kind of hint on something. Why a lot of people aren't closer to their money is they don't know what questions they should be asking. They
Yes.
don't know what they don't know.
There's that. And I think when we think it's complicated, it's really discipline. And it's so like if it's basically, here, Jeremy, this is like think of Warren Buffett's first rule of investing. What is it?
Mhm. Don't lose money.
What's his second rule?
Look at rule number one.
Yeah, what's his third rule?
I don't know the third rule. The first two seem pretty good.
Yeah, it's to look at the first rule. His
Okay.
fourth rule is look at the first rule. It's that simple. It's like don't lose money, right? Like and why the only way you could not lose money when you're making investments, which are never guaranteed, is to really know, like, and understand that thing. So you know when something doesn't seem right, when you know the market, where you know what's going on. That's why he's so successful, wildly successful. And it's same with the seven laws of wealth. I find that I find my belief now, Jeremy, is if people would just follow the laws of wealth that we've talked about in episode 35, and I want you to go through these for the folks, is it's really following these laws of wealth. And if you can't do the first one, guess what? I don't think you should move on to the second one.
Yeah, fair enough. And let's get into it, right? What are the seven laws of wealth? Number one, pay yourself first, right?
That's it. That's it.
It's
And
not.
at least 10% is, and so if you're listing, you make 100 grand, that's 10,000 a year. If you're paying yourself 10,000 a year, high five yourself. That's amazing. Next question is where are you storing it? Jeremy,
Yeah.
number two.
Number two, spend less than you earn.
Ooh, that's a good one. How many people do you think are actually doing that, Jeremy?
As Americans, I think that we have a spending problem, and you see it across the board, all the way at the highest levels of government.
Yeah, I mean, we're running into bankruptcy every year. If we looked at our government spending habits as a family, as a wealthy family, they'd be going bankrupt every year and then going, oh, can we just have a little bit more? Can you loan us a little bit more money? Can we run a little bit more in a deficit? Right. So, and the part of number two, not to get off topic here, but the spend less than you earn, there's a margin there. This is a part I miss, Jeremy. So I know every time we talk about this, I get excited. But the reason why I was in and out of debt, other than not being close enough for my money or knowing any of these laws or knowing what we know today, was every time I would save that 10%, that emergency fund, that 3 to 6 months you put aside, every time something unexpected happened, that change we always talk about,
Hmm.
and I was always shocked. Shocked a transmission broke down, shocked an air conditioner broke, shocked a kid fell off the monkey bars and broke his arm. It's shocking these things that happen in life that we're surprised, right, by. But my money wasn't protected. The money that is going to work for us, the Sipples, for me, and go out and earn me money was not protected with a margin. And this is why, if you look at just laws one and two, Jeremy, pay yourself first, stop being last in line for your money. And number two is create a buffer around that money where now you're living off of 70 to 80%, depending on your other rules. But that's it, right? 70 to 80%. The rest you have to have the 10%, and the 10% is protected by 10 or 20% is the margin around your money. It's a moat around your money.
If people just simply did the first two, I think that they'd be just fine financially, honestly. Like we talk about seven laws of wealth, but if you pay yourself first and spend less than you earn and creating that little margin, you'll see a night and day over the next year, night and day in your financial health.
Yeah, and this is, I mean, I think Daddy Dave does a little bit of that, right? Because some of these rules apply to what he teaches, but I think where we're missing it is the thinking. So let's keep going. Let's go into why, if you want to create wealth and generational wealth, what's next?
Number three is create uninterrupted compound growth.
Yeah, and where's some place you can do that, Jeremy, where it's never interrupted?
If I'm looking at just my vault, right? Like again, infinite banking, it's not an investment, but it is the bridge between saving and investing. It's that bridge that gets me from point A to point B. And because I want to use uninterrupted compounding, I use properly engineered whole life insurance as the bridge. That's it. It's a vault. It's not an investment.
That's it. And we talked about not outsourcing your thinking. We talked about being closer to your money. Number four is investing in yourself, right? After the basics, like you're the engine, you're the person, the individual that's going to drive your business, your job, your money forward. The first business is the business of making money. The most valuable business, banking, that Jeremy just talked about, but investing in yourself first,
Mhm.
whether it's your health, whether it's your knowledge, new skill sets, because listen, everything's happening for us. There's so many things that we do on this show, that things that I did in my life that didn't work out, that didn't go the way I wanted them to, have been able to add massive value to you, the listeners, and to Jeremy and myself in this partnership of really bringing this simple concept, basic concept to you on a, weekly basis, right? To help you free yourself from the system.
Yeah, absolutely. And so keep it going. What's number five?
Oh, I was going to kick it back over to you, but number
All right.
five, good. Number five, you do number five.
Number five, don't take on bad debt, right? I know there's a lot of discussions about debt. You should never hold debt, right? Never hold debt. Uh, I would say, I'm from the school of thought where leverage is fine so long as it's healthy debt, right? So don't take on bad debt. What do I mean by bad debt? What's an example of bad debt, Jason?
That couple I was talking about earlier have that debt where you're paying 6, 12, 8% amortized interest over years and years to the banks.
Yeah, credit cards. Another
Credit cards
perfect
average
example.
of
Yeah.
24.5%, $1.4 trillion. Just you're like, oh, you sound like you're a conspiracy. No, just look, if you ask yourself who's winning in the equation when you borrow from someone else and you commit to paying them a structured payment over 5, 6, 15, 30, 50 years, who's winning in that equation? Like think if you were an investor and someone would pay you for 30 to next 30 to 50 years. So it's again, the problem's not it's not a money problem, it's a pattern problem.
Yeah, and guess what? If you go back to the first two rules, pay yourself first, spend less than you earn, you probably aren't taking on bad debt. You probably aren't taking on credit cards and things that you can't afford.
Exactly. Exactly. And then the next one, what's the next law? So we went through the first five, right? Pay yourself first, spend less than you make, create uninterrupted compound growth. Only one vehicle we know we can do that. Invest in yourself, after the basics. And don't take on bad debt from third parties. What's number six?
Number six is don't delegate your wealth. Don't delegate it.
That's it. I call this one track every dollar. What's coming in, what's going out. That's just how my brain works. Like, no, you're closer to your money now, so know what's happening with your money.
Yeah. All right, let's take it a step back from there. Jason, I have kids. I work two jobs. I'm up to my eyeballs. I don't know how to use Excel. I don't know how to use these apps that you're talking about. I want to take on a financial advisor or someone I can afford a financial advisor. I can afford a CPA. I can do these things because I'm spending so much time on the creation of my money. I'm okay with doing that.
Mm.
With paying for these services. I got it. If you are the wealth engine and you're going out and actually spending a lot of time creating and you have the rest of your life that's I don't have the time. What I'm getting at is you still can't delegate your wealth. Those people work for you. So they should be at least generating a report, right? They should be telling you, helping you with your strategy, making sure that it's in alignment with your values, making sure it's in alignment with your priorities. You don't delegate your wealth. You can outsource maybe the accounting side of the house. That accountant still has an obligation to generate some sort of reporting to you.
And Jeremy, I thought you were describing me for a second. I was getting a little uncomfortable. I really did. I'm like, wait, I have two kids. Wait, I'm really busy. Wait, I have, like, I really thought you were, I'm not joking. I was thinking, oh, but to your point is even if you're looking for someone to give you financial advice, you have to ask who, like Jeremy just said, they're working for you. What's in it for them? Like it should be a mutually everyone thrives kind of scenario where they're bringing you exactly the report that you want to see. And this is something Patty and I worked on over the years. I was like, cool, we know exactly what's happening on our home economy, right? What's happening in our business? Like
Mhm.
when are we paying, our employees, the contractors, the things, like what are we why are we investing money here? Does it make sense? Do we need this app? And we start getting closer on the business side. And then we have someone doing all the books, and Patty manages the person doing the books. And they report it to us and they run it all for us. And we pay them to do that because it's tedious. But at the end of the day, we come together and we're like, okay, how much came in? How much went out? Does it make sense that we're doing X, Y, and Z, right? It gives you a way. And if you're what Jeremy described, person that's too busy, I'm going to offer you this. You're not too busy. Block out a time on your calendar, 8 hours to think what you're trying to accomplish, and then go over those basics and know what you need from those people, those who's that you're going to have on your team.
You can't be too busy because if
Not for
you're,
this.
yeah, this actually does matter. What matters is measured. These people work for you. The applications you pay for, but you can't delegate your wealth. You actually have to make the financial decisions. Otherwise, you're going to end up in the same place you are a year from now. Think
Eh,
about that. Are you happy today? If you are, congratulations. If you're not, then ask yourself, what am I doing wrong? Is probably delegating a little bit of your wealth or not tracking it. Is that contributing to where you are today? That part of that unhappiness you're feeling.
And if you're here, congratulations. You're already doing what the minority of people are doing. You're following the fourth law, investing in yourself, learning new things, hearing a different way to think about your thinking. And like Jeremy said, if you're feeling that stress and that worry, then you're not in a place where you can delegate your wealth. You actually have to do the opposite and lean in. Lean in.
Mhm.
If you're uncomfortable, lean in. If and that goes for everything in your life. If you're, I could go with some personal stories right now. I'll save them for another day. But lean in. Like every time I've leaned in, I'm here because I leaned in about money.
So I love that. Law number seven, Jason.
And now this one's gonna mess with a lot of folks because we love to tithe, we love to give, we love to put others in front of ourselves. 'Cause at the end of the day, it's one of our human needs. But something I've been wrapping my head around, Jeremy, is number seven, which is give from a place of power. Meaning, once your money goes out and starts working for you and making you money, and you can keep being a value creator and creating more money, you're going to be able to give a lot more. And if you need, the reason I said before 20 to 30% that you have to that put aside and live off of 70 to 80%, because if you're going to tithe from that 10% off the top, then you're going to have to create more to pay yourself and more margin to protect that money.
Yeah. Did you see that post of mine recently about us raising over $1 million in a night for the charity Impact Others?
Yeah, that's incredible. Talk about that for a moment. Talk that means I know how much it meant to you, and I think it's just incredible what could be done from people that have the kind of wealth that is engineered over time.
Yeah, so I'm part of this, organization, this group of entrepreneurs, and in a single evening, we came together and we generated over $1 million, and it's for the charity Impact Others. The purpose of it is to educate and provide services, food for orphanages and children around the world, right?
Mm.
And just this past Christmas, we gathered thousands and thousands of toys So every young boy and girl in orphanages, I want to say it's over 100 countries, are getting toys for Christmas, right? Um, I decided to do a monthly giving because I believe in helping children. I want to give children education and opportunity. And through that monthly giving, I'm able to help them predict the rest of the year. That's why I did it. And I'm able to be a part of something bigger than myself. And I'll never meet a lot of these children, if not even a fraction of them. But knowing that we're able to help empower the next generation and provide that stability is the reason I got on board. I think that's why so many of us in a single evening got together and raised $1 million just for 2026 alone. Where does that come from? The moment that I raised my hand and I said, "Hey, I want to be a part of this monthly giving," um, I now had the mission to go out and create my pledge. I had to go out and get intentional. Where is my money going? How can I continue to support this cause that I believe in? And
Mm.
when you end up wanting to do something bigger than yourself and give from a place of power, the seventh law of wealth, give from a place of power, it makes you become very intentional about the rest of your money patterns, right? That's how we started this podcast. You have money patterns, not money problems.
And beautiful, that's a beautiful way to start bringing this one to a close. And it's such, you can feel your heart, brother, and what you're doing for those kids. A lot of them, like you said, you'll never meet, but it's joy, it's hope. It's when we start operating, and what you're speaking of is you're operating from a place of power, not force. When you operate from power, from love, from intention that requires the presence, a presence that requires the closeness to your money, it is the bridge to really understanding and becoming truly wealthy. Not rich, but wealthy.
Mhm.
You're doing something that, when you put your head down, when you say your prayers at night, you know that you're making a huge impact in the community you're around, and the fact that they're giving from abundance and following that seven law, it goes all the way back to number one, right? Like you have to follow the first law, the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth, the sixth, but seven, like emotionally, we all want to leave the world a better place. At least anyone that's listening to us that wants to work with us, we all want to leave the world in a better place than we found it. Our kids, where we grew up, who we can impact, what we care about. And we all care about different things, but we can all agree that children that have opportunities that they never had because of following the laws of wealth, I think that says it all.
Yeah. Yeah. I would ask our listeners, of these laws, the seven laws that we just discussed, if live consistently, which law would actually change your life forever? Is it paying yourself first? Is it investing in yourself? Is it giving from a place of power? Which law, if you lived it consistently, would actually change your life the fastest?
I know the answer for most of the folks I talk to, but I'd love for you to tell us what you think and what is your key takeaway, right? Again, you don't need more hustle. You don't need another app. You don't have to work harder. Just get closer to your numbers. Get closer
Mhm.
to your numbers. They govern everything that's happening in your life. Remember, it's a pattern, and you change your pattern by creating habits that are going to support what you actually want.
Yeah. So if this episode, if it resonates with you, you can always book a call with myself or Jason. If you don't know where to start, just start there. Start picking up the phone and say, "Hey, I hear you. I would like to get closer to my money. How do I get closer to my money?" And that's something that Jason and I do every single day. We do this with people from all different financial backgrounds, all different money habits, so to speak. And I would love to have that conversation with you. This is very intentional. And I think that the more people who can get closer to the money, the better they're going to be in their personal lives. And I think we as Americans as a whole, as a society, will actually be stronger.
We will be stronger. That's what we both believe. We believe bringing it back to you and me level, one person at a time, one family at a time. Again, you don't need to be perfect with your money. You just need to be present. Get closer. Book that call. Go to wealthwisebanking.com. Book a call with Jeremy or I. It doesn't cost you anything other than your time, which is your most valuable resource. But as long as you come willing to be open and really get closer to your money in that conversation, we will give you a path forward. We will tie whatever you're looking to do now to the next 10 years and show you a better way to tackle 2026. So, Jeremy, we already know that you're already in banking.
You're just not the banker yet.
All right. Stay blessed, you all. Thank you all for your time, your attention. We're looking forward to having that conversation with you. Until next time, thank you, Jeremy. Awesome job, brother.
Take care.
Thanks for joining us on WealthWise Banking. If today's episode inspired you, please subscribe, leave a review, and give us a like. It's a simple way to help others discover these empowering strategies and join our community. Together, we're building a network of people who believe financial freedom is within everyone's reach. Remember, financial independence is about making every dollar work for you, one step at a time. Until next time, stay inspired, stay in control, and keep building your legacy the wise way.